Hello and welcome to Create the Flow. I'm Monica Freeman, host and founder of Monica Freeman Studios and Unewell. I am here to guide you in aligning with your soul's purpose, trusting your inner voice, and building a life that you truly love. You were born with a purpose, and your intuition already knows the way. Hello, my love. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so happy to have you here. I want to talk about how to feel calm in chaotic times. This is one of the things that I really spent a good chunk of my life struggling with. I think I may have attracted more chaos than I realized simply by not having boundaries, by thinking I had to always be available to people please, show up. And in the process, I was causing myself so much distress. I think I thought I was just being a good friend. I don't know what you feel like, but whatever is causing you to feel not peace, it doesn't necessarily have to be chaos, but if you don't feel regulated, if you don't feel calm, if you feel like it's always something that you can never catch a break, then this episode is for you. You guys know I speak from my heart, so I never have notes. So I'm not going to do a step-by-step, but I am just going to talk to you about a few things that have really helped me find calm internally. The first thing is understanding what is creating the chaos or the stress, the lack of clarity, the frustration. A lot of times we are going through the motions of the day-to-day, and we're not even realizing that we are creating the very thing that doesn't feel good to us. And I'll just give you an example. I have a client who has a teenager, and her daughter is a really good kid, but they have a lot of conflict. Her daughter is at that age now. I think she is somewhere between 17 and 19. So she's about to graduate high school. She's going off to college, and her mom is really sad that she's going to be moving out of the house, but they only have so much time left and they are fighting constantly. As I was listening to my client, because I do not have children of my own, I can only hear the love, the compassion, but also the frustration behind the relationship she has with her daughter. And her daughter is taking full advantage of her, walking all over her, like not obeying their rules that they've set, her and her husband have set at the house. And so she was not firmly setting boundaries because she was allowing her daughter to take control of situations. She was allowing her daughter to essentially walk all over her. When somebody creates chaos in your life, it is because you are not protecting your peace. You have not set a boundary that is clear to both you and your nervous system and to the opposing party or the situation at hand. So in this case with my client, if she wants her daughter to respect her and to obey whatever their household chores are, whatever their nightly routine is, whatever it is that they have going on, then she has to create rules that have to be enforced. Because every time you let something slide when you're trying to be the good person or the good friend or the good teacher or the good mentor or whatever role that this is occurring in your life, the good girlfriend, the good boyfriend, the good husband, wife, you are creating chaos for yourself. If you give somebody an inch, they will take a mile. If you give somebody anything, they will keep coming back for more because you are creating the situation where they feel empowered and enabled. The only way to prevent that from happening is to go internally and say, this is how I want to be respected, this is how I want to be treated, and this is the new rule. This is exactly what we're going to do. End of conversation. You don't have to explain yourself. When we set boundaries, we don't have to explain ourselves why we are not answering the phone, why we haven't responded to an email, why we don't want to go to that event, why we told our child no. There doesn't need to be an explanation. We don't have to explain why we need to feel peace internally. But in order to get away from chaos, you have to create boundaries. You can't sit on the phone with a friend who's having a really bad day and going off on every single thing wrong in their life. You can be a good friend in other ways by saying, hey, let's go for a hike, or let's go for a workout, or do you want to go to dinner? And, trying to get them out of that zone and bring them into a safe environment that feels good to them, something that they like. You can create an alternative situation. I have a friend who drinks a lot. In fact, I would say this person maybe crosses the limit of how much they should drink daily. And I have made it a clear boundary between us that I will not go out with this person when they are drinking. We can find a million things to do, but I will not be out when they are drinking because I don't like the person they become when they are drinking. That is a boundary that I set to protect my own peace. When we are thinking about the things that cause us chaos, we have to understand that we play a role in that chaos. Chaos doesn't just find us. You have to be an energetic match for chaos. That's why whenever you wake up and you maybe woke up 10 or 15, maybe 20 minutes late, so you feel rushed and you can't make your breakfast, or you can't find your keys, or you didn't have your outfit picked out, or you don't have time to shower, your makeup looks bad, like you're rushing, you can't find anything. And then you get in the car, there's traffic, people are honking, everything is frustrating you, you get to the office, something sets you off. It's because you are a magnet to that energy, because you are currently in that energy. And until you reflect the opposite energy, which is higher, elevated energy, you're going to keep attracting that low vibe, that chaos energy. When you really go internally and say, why does everything feel so chaotic to me? You get clarity in what feels misaligned. Settling is another perfect example of creating chaos for yourself. And we see this in so many situations. You can see this in the people that you're dating. If you are only dating somebody because you feel like it's your only option, or because you can't find anybody else, when you settle for, let's say you're an entrepreneur and you have a product or a service and you lower that price because you're settling for what you think you can get. When you settle in life, when you settle for a job, when you settle for a job title, when you settle for anything, you create chaos internally. Your body knows what it truly wants. Our intuitions always know. And when we settle with something that we didn't want, perfect example, when I first launched my creative agency, this was years ago now, I had priced my social media management services for entry-level clients at $1,500. But I had a client come to me who wanted a much more intermediate to advanced level package. And I remember sending her my invoice and her saying, well, I can't afford that. And I thought to myself at this time, I really need a new client. But I also knew how much work it was going to be. And I knew that I would resent that whole situation if I settled and charged less. So I told her, because she had seen on my website that I had a package for $1,500, that you can have that $1,500 package. These are the services. This is exactly what it's going to look like, what my monthly overhead's going to be for your company. Or you can pay this and you can get all of this. Had I settled, I would have been so upset. I would have been so resentful because I would have been doing so much more work than I was getting paid. So when you're thinking about what is causing you to feel in chaos, frustrated, whatever the terminology is, think about the way that you're living and the choices that you're making. We contribute to these things. And chances are your nervous system feels like it's constantly in fear. Because when you're living in chaos, it's because your nervous system is dysregulated. And the reason why our nervous systems get dysregulated is scientifically, yes, it is because they are designed to protect us. It is because our nervous system is constantly scanning the environment for threats. So anything that it does not know and recognize as familiar, it assumes will harm us. But that is not the only thing that happens with the nervous system. The nervous system works off of limiting beliefs. So a program that you have conditioned your body to know. Think of it as all the facts about yourself. Whatever your body believes to be true about you, or true about any situation. All of this data that it's collected through all of your 5 senses. And it makes decisions based on that information. So if it doesn't have new information, it only goes to what it knows. So if there was only one book in the entire world about spirituality, there was no such thing as religion. There weren't different types of religions. There was no theologies, no philosophies, nothing. There was just one book written about spirituality, and that is all we knew. If you believed in spirituality, you would only believe what was in that book because that's all you would know. Well, that's what's happening with your body. Your body only knows the experiences it has had up to this point in your life. So if you try to do anything differently, it's going to feel chaotic. It's going to feel scary. It's going to feel stressful because it doesn't know that yet. It hasn't created a program that it runs on to make that choice yet. So every time you create a boundary, or every time you decide not to settle, or every time you do something that feels different, it's going to feel stressful at first. And you have to be discerning and understanding if this is actually something that you want to do. Do you want to create this boundary? Do you want to do this thing? Or do you not? If you're about to go skydiving and your intuition tells you this is something that I 100% don't want to do, it's not because I'm afraid to jump out of a plane. It's because I legit do not want to do this. This does not feel good to me. Then the limiting belief that's trying to protect you from jumping out of a perfectly good plane is probably protecting you. However, on the other side, if you're like, oh my God, I've been dying to jump out of a plane my whole life. I really, really want to go skydiving. This feels so fun. I cannot wait. And you get all the way up there, 10,000 feet or whatever it is, and you're so excited to jump out. But the second they open that door and you see what's below you and you have a little bit of fear, that's just you excited to do this thing, but your nervous system saying, hey, wait, we don't know this program yet because you've never jumped out of a perfectly good plane. But if you're going to do this, we're going to protect you. Just jump and then jump again and keep jumping, and eventually we'll get used to this program. Maybe it'll happen after the first jump. But you get what I'm saying here is a lot of times we create chaos because we're not discerning about our nervous system and we don't actually know what we want. We are just going through the motions of life to bring this back full circle. We're just making choices that have been conditioned that we've been making our whole entire life, or choices that feel easy or simple. But they're really not. Life is meant to feel good. There can be hard days without it feeling chaotic and stressful and overwhelming. When you learn how to regulate your nervous system, this is a whole other conversation, but when you learn how to regulate your nervous system, you don't get stressed out and overwhelmed and things don't feel chaotic. You do feel the fear or the onset of that discomfort. So you feel that uncomfortable sensation like, man, this sucks. But you're not like reactive to that emotion. I spent most of my life reactive, most of my life in fear, most of my life thinking I had to be surviving even when I was thriving. I was always afraid I was going to lose it. And all of that internal feeling, those emotions were creating so much chaos and dysregulation. And when I created boundaries, and I stopped settling, and I regulate my nervous system, that is when my life changed. Now I don't feel like I have chaos in my life, and it's a really good feeling. I can't put it into words because I never knew what peace felt like until now. So if you've experienced a level of peace where it's almost like you're on vacation, where you have all the money in the world, all the time in the world, you're with your favorite people, and the weather's perfect, the resort is perfect, like everything is perfect. It's that feeling, but internally. If you could experience that daily, it's a really nice feeling to not have chaos looming over like this gray cloud. When's it going to rain next? So today I just want to inspire you to make choices that feel good to you. Be discerning. Really understand what limiting beliefs are keeping you stuck. There's a limiting belief that's holding you back. There's a limiting belief that's keeping you from creating boundaries. There's a limiting belief that is trying to protect you, so it's not allowing you to go above your baseline, so it's causing you to settle. There's several limiting beliefs that are dysregulating your nervous system, and it's up to you to change. So if you are ready to do a little mind-body healing, I have a 5-step guide in the show notes. It is completely free. It's beautiful. I spent time working on it so that I could really get you a transformational outcome from a freebie. So if that is something that you're interested in and you really want to work on your mind-body wellness, get that down below. And I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you'd like more information, you can follow along on Instagram at Create the Flow Podcast, or find me personally at Monica Freeman. And if you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to leave a review and share it with a friend.